Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. And I'm excited because this is the first tea time of 2015, so yay! Thank you for tuning in. So if you're interested in the topic of interviewing and what questions to ask the interviewer, stay tuned. So applying for jobs, I know, can be a job in itself, but this is a hiring season. Probably from like January to June is a big hiring season for a lot of employers, and so as we're going on interviews, we should be questions as well. We shouldn't be the only one who's being questioned. So I thought it would be great to share about 7 questions with you all that are very important to ask your potential employer. These are not the end-all be-all, and you can add questions that you feel like are important for you to ask depending on the potential employer. But I think these are very important to ask because you want this information because it's vital in making an educated decision on whether or not you want to accept an offer for employment. So number 1, how do employees develop and learn here at this company? This gives you a chance to not only determine whether or not staff development is a priority as your potential employer, but also shows that you're interested in growing and learning with this company or agency or wherever you're applying or interviewing. Also, learning and progression at a company, agency, or at your potential employer could lead to promotion. So if I were you, I definitely think this is an important question to ask. Number 2, how do you evaluate performance and what constitutes success? This question is important because you want to know what matters to this employer. What is it that you feel like you can improve and grow on? Do they let you know that? Is the criticism constructive, or do they kind of just throw you out there and let you do your work but never provide any feedback? I think feedback is so important because it shows that the company is willing to improve themselves as well as their employees. Number 3, why is this position open, or why did the predecessor leave? Okay, so this question is crucial because you can tell from the body language of the interviewer as well as their actual verbal explanation if there are any red flags, because you don't want to be walking into a lion's den or a potentially toxic environment. And so one of the major red flags that I think you should look out for is whether or not the position that you're interviewing for has been consistently or constantly filled and vacated, filled and vacated, filled and vacated. Because then you can think, is this employer or is the department or is the agency as a whole or company as a whole, is it toxic? You don't want to work in a toxic environment because then you could be the next person to fill and then vacate that position. Number 4. Do you have any hesitations about my qualifications? Okay, so I really love this question because it's bold and it's gutsy, but it also shows confidence because you're confident in your skills and your abilities, or else you wouldn't have applied for the position, right? So showing that you're confident can also show the interviewer that you're really interested in the position. But also this could segue or lead into any type of constructive criticism that the interviewer has, because they could have some hesitations, or they could have some questions about your resume, or they could just have some potential, I guess, feedback for you as an interviewee. And that's good to take on. Whether or not you get the position, you can take that criticism and apply it to your next interview. So really gutsy and bold question, but absolutely necessary. What is the financial health of this company? So if your potential employer is public, you can research this information. It should be online. But if it's private, that's a little bit harder to get a hold of. But you really want to know the financial health of the company, because if you're going to potentially be walking into an unhealthy company or a financially unhealthy company, this could affect your ability to negotiate your salary, and this could affect your ability to receive benefits. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm a recent graduate. I have a master's, so I know my worth. So I want to be able to negotiate a good starting salary to get my foot in the door, but to also accommodate the lifestyle and to accommodate my lifestyle and to meet my needs. And also, you really want to see if if this is your need or this is necessary for you. You really want to see if they're unhealthy, because then this affects their benefits package. Whether or not you need a 401k, or if they're a nonprofit, it could be different. Whether or not you want to establish, you know, or get life insurance, whether you want medical, dental, vision insurance. This all are some things that you have to consider with a potential employer. So a lot of times the financial health can give you that answer. It can add to whether or not you make an educated decision about accepting a potential offer to work with them. Number 6 is the greatest number. Could I speak to a potential colleague? So this is a good question. A lot of interviewers may not even expect this. I know when I've asked this question, they have not expected me to ask this. So that keeps them on their toes, one. And it also gives you a chance to speak to a colleague who's not had a practice answer, but you get an unbiased, maybe neutral review of the potential department or position that you could be filling. You want to get their review of the position from their standpoint, because the interviewer could be biased. They could be director of HR. They could be maybe the head of the department, so they're going to think that their department is just amazing. They could be the CEO or the founder of the company or agency, so of course they're going to be biased. You want to get someone who's working in the environment, working in the field, has an everyday experience of doing the things that you could potentially be doing, because then this lets you know whether or not you can handle that position or whether or not you want to work in that type of environment. I think this is a really good question to ask, and it's a really good experience during the interview process, because it's a little bit unorthodox, but it really gives you a chance to talk to someone. And last but not least, number 7, what's the next step in this process? You should definitely ask this question. This should be probably the last question that you ask them, because this is like probably right before they shake your hand, you're walking out the door, you're ready to go. But this is what shows that you're interested in progressing in this process. It shows that you're interested in knowing what's next as far as what you can do to further your steps in the hiring process. But it also may give you some insight on how many people are running for this position and where you stand. So definitely ask this question, because they can say, oh, we'll email you, or they can even tell you, oh, we want to offer you the job. And that could lead to whether or not you want to make a decision there or in a couple of business days. It's up to you, but you should definitely ask what is next in the process. So yeah, those are just a few questions. Like I said before, you can ask more, you can ask less, but you definitely want to ask some of these questions, because it shows the employer that you're interested in them, you're interested in this process, you're interested in the position, but that you also want to make an educated decision. Never make a decision about accepting an offer for a position with a potential employer unless you ask questions yourself, because you could be walking into God knows what if you don't ask any questions. You have to know. This is something I was always told by bigger sisters of mine. You always have a question. Okay, so I want to thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate the support. Remember to share, like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And comment below, what are some questions that you feel like you should ask at a potential interview? Or even worse, what is the craziest question you're asked at an interview? Bye.